name is Hannah Rollis, and today I have watching me my cousin Brian, Mike, and my mother. Alright, so today the purpose of my speech is to explain why we should repeal gun control and why bearing arms is so important. Starting off, I understand that this is a touchy topic for a lot of people, but I feel it's very important we discuss these issues and think in terms of logic and safety for not only yourself, but for those you love. The right to bear arms is important because not only do you need to protect yourself from a tyrannical government, which is a government that reaches absolute power and has no limits to their cruelty or unjustness, but also from others who intend on harming you. Violence with guns has been a known issue in America, ranging from illegal to legal gun owners and even the government themselves. This kind of violence will continue to exist for years to come, with or without gun control. Let's remember, not all violence is criminal. Guns are continuously looked at as criminal violence. What some choose to not understand is that the defensive gun use protects people in between 2.2 and 2.5 million situations annually. Of course, there will always be a bad guy with a gun, and most of the time, those bad guys obtain their guns illegally anyways. So putting a stop to illegal gun purchases won't make a difference to them. With this being said, taking guns away from law-abiding citizens is not only going to do anything besides leave the bad guys armed and the good guys defenseless. Displaying a gun-free zone poster will not stop determined criminals from what they already planned on doing. Having the right to bear arms could potentially save yourself as well as others around you in an instance of trouble. It's better to have a gun just in case than to not have one and wait for police to arrive after the deed has already been done and lives have already been lost. Reasons why gun control could be more harmful than helpful and why bearing arms is so important. First off, your right to bear arms is secured by the Second Amendment, stipulating a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms should not be infringed. Over the years, the government has been finding loopholes to putting controls on the Second Amendment. In 5 states, there are laws implemented known as the red flag laws, stating if a judge deems someone to be a threat, they can strip them of their guns. A person's right to bear arms can be taken away upon a single person's opinion of whether that person appears mentally stable. What is this person's definition of mentally stable? Does this mean a veteran who went out to war, one, to defend these rights, has just returned home and can't own a gun because of PTSD developed from war? Or what about a woman who has been raped or has been a victim of domestic violence that now deals with paranoia or depression? She's no longer to defend or own a gun to protect herself? Where's the limit? My point is, when the government is given the power to revise one amendment like the second, who knows what amendment will be next up for revision? For the people who think the government will never turn on you, when someone is given a taste of power, what makes you think they'll stop with just a little? Take Venezuela for an example. Proceeding to my next argument, gun-free zones. Gun-free zones are the most susceptible for shooting occurrences. According to USA Today's article, 98% of mass shootings in America occur in gun-free zones. Criminals are more likely to choose places where guns are allowed Criminals are more likely to choose places where guns are not allowed to ensure that their safety and to ensure their plans fall through correctly. Why would they choose somewhere that they know people are going to be armed? That would put themselves in danger. They would want their act to be successful as possible. California is a great example. A man by the name of Ian Long entered a gun-free zone and killed 12 people. With what, might you ask? Of course, a gun. You mean he didn't read the sign that said no gun laws? Imagine if at least one person other than the shooter was armed. The situation could have turned out a lot different. Mind you, California is one of the states with one of the strictest gun laws. Restricting the good guys' right to bear arms results in innocent lives being left defenseless and ultimately dead. Concealed weapons also protect people who cannot always rely on the police forces for protection. Of course, you want to be able to rely on law enforcement when times get hard, but there aren't always the closest when situations turn sour. Depending on the situation, it can take responders several minutes to even hours to respond to a situation. It's always better to have your own means of protection in such cases of emergencies. What if you can't get to the phone, or you have to be silent because of a burglary? Such as an instance I was in. My boyfriend's house got almost broken into, but the man didn't walk away until a gun was pointed at him. This ensured me of my stance on my right and need to bear arms. To conclude, I believe everyone should educate themselves on firearms, even if you don't necessarily agree with them or the matter, or simply just don't like guns. At least you make yourself knowledgeable on the subject. It's better to know something rather than to know nothing. Educating yourself before you make arguments on something you don't know about is very important, such as a woman who decided to come into my pharmacy. She said, "Why do I have to give my license for a controlled substance, but I can just walk in and buy a gun anywhere?" Which is not the case. There are background checks, there are age limits, and there are mental limits as well. But to end this, if everyone carried, a lot more people would be hesitant in escalating situations. Crimes can never be fully prevented, but you can always prepare. Thank you, and that's my speech.